What's up guys, this is my first team building video. I'm going to show you this nasty plot Salazzle team I made for Sun and Moon. I just wanted to use Salazzle because I haven't really seen anyone use it, and people's Sun and Moon teams seem to be really weak to fire types. I don't know why that is, but Salazzle is a nice fast fire type that doesn't get used much. Using it has made me realize why it doesn't get used much, because it's very hard to set up, and it's weak to rocks, which is just hard to, I'm tired of Showdown doing this. I just changed all the IVs back to 31. We'll do it again. But yeah, I wanted to use Salazzle for those reasons. It's hard to use now because Sun and Moon also introduced a lot of really fast mons like Tapu Koko. So yes, Greninja's also back in the tier, so this thing is not as effective as it might have been in Oras when the tier was a bit slower, but we're going to try it anyway. I ran some calcs straight away to see how strong this man is, and it's pretty impressive. Like, Latios is a fairly specially defensive thing, +2 Life Orb, Sludge Wave just OHKOs that cleanly. Same for Megazard Y, which has very high special defense. Latias with 72 HP, which is a pretty common spread if you're willing to use this bad Pokemon. That gets OHKO'd after Stealth Rock, and Megagara gets OHKO'd after Stealth Rock, so very strong Pokemon, surprising for a 111 base special attack stat. And then Fire Blast, OHKO's Super Unbound Hippowdon, max HP Mega Venusaur, although you will need some Stealth Rock damage to OHKO it if it's specially defensive. And then standard Mandibuzz has about a 50% chance to get OHKO'd, so that's just ridiculous. And then I have HP Ground as the coverage move, which lets you hit Heatran and Alolan Marowak, which are fairly common, especially Marowak is everywhere as an electric resist, or immunity rather. So yeah, hitting those is important. Heatran gets OHKO'd by +2 HP Ground, even if it's absolute max SpDef, which isn't really a set. And then absolute max special defense Marowak dies after rocks. But if they're just running a more tanky set like max attack, max HP, that gets OHKO'd from 100%. And then HP Ground doesn't really get past Toxapex and T-Tar, but it does some heavy damage to them. And the alternative would be like HP Ice, which hits Garchomp and Zygarde mainly. And I guess Minior, which walls this typing, but I don't know how well Minior would take the hits because it's got quite bad defensive stats. And then I wanted a Pokemon that could give this thing some free switch-ins. I actually ended up putting 3 Volt Turners on the team so we can get some safe switch-ins to this and the other threats, which are the 3 things on the left. But specifically it needs to Volt Switch on weak grass types like Ferrothorn. Mega Venusaur's not exactly weak, but it does let Salazzle set up if it doesn't have Earthquake, which is sadly kind of common in Sun and Moon because of Alolan Marowak and other things. But yeah, Among Us is another one, so Tapu Koko Volt switches on those and lures them in for Salazzle. And I'm running a nice Insane set here. I think Dazzling Gleam might be better than Grass Knot, but I have Grass Knot to hit the occasional Seismitoad, Hippowdon, and Gastrodon, because they all really get in Salazzle's way. Not Hippowdon, but the water ground types do. Whoops, not meant to be on that one yet. So Grass Knot is there, but Nature's Madness with the Tapunium Z does 75% of the target's remaining HP, so if they're at full it does 75, if they're at 80% it does 60%, which is a particularly good lure for Chansey, but you can use this in every battle to just nuke something. You bring this in early on a water type and just Nature's Madness their Ferrothorn or whatever, and Ferrothorn is pretty annoying for this team, but you can Volt Switch into Salazzle if that seems like a more useful thing to do at the time. But yeah, this move has been useful in almost every battle. This set could probably be changed a bit, but I wanted Wild Charge so I could kill Chansey once I got it down to 25%. And then Grass Knot is to, kill Seismitoad and Gastrodon. It's a 2-hit KO on both of them, but they both die after Nature's Madness. But if you're not worried about Gastrodon, you can just get rid of this and run Dazzling Gleam, because Seismitoad in OU typically runs max physical defense, and Dazzling Gleam does enough to KO after Nature's Madness and 1 turn of leftovers on the Seismitoad. So yeah, that's up to you. I don't really like, once you're actually in a battle, this set feels awkward. Like, you can't really hit ground types all that hard if they don't have a grass weakness. So yeah, I think try Dazzling Gleam if you have time. And then at this point I was worried about faster ground types, like Scarf ground types, and faster water types, or water types with priority, so like BD Azumarill. If I built the rest of the team in such a way that let BD Azumarill set up, I wouldn't really have a good check here. Same for SD Crawdaunt. And of course there are Pokemon faster than Salazzle and Koko, so despite having a fairly fast team, I was still scared of things like Mega Alakazam, Mega Aerodactyl, Pheromosa, there's something else. Oh, Ash Greninja is base 132 speed, I think. That sounds a bit... No, that's what it is. So then I put Tapu Lele on here next, because that just checks like the Azumarill, the Crawdaunt. Bisharp is also a pretty big threat to these two. It can't exactly SD freely, but Sucker Punch is doing a lot to these, so if they just take a bit of hazard damage, Bisharp becomes a huge problem. So yeah, this just revenges everything, like Mega Pinsir gone, Bisharp, all those things I said, Dragonite, Mega Gara, like non-Scarf Pheromosa. This thing is just like the best revenge killer of all time, because Psychic Surge summons Psychic Terrain, which means priority doesn't work. So the set is fairly self-explanatory. Psychic is just your spammable move, Moonblast is your other spammable move if they have Dark types and are insane enough to switch them into this. HP Fire is pretty much mandatory, because you go from being walled to Sizz to checking Mega Sizz, and this is really nice for Ferrothorn too, but I have T-Bolt on this, which hits a lot of steel types as well. It's mainly for Celesteela and Mantine and Skarmory, and I thought that was more useful than the other options, which are like Psyshock to hit Chansey mainly, but there are other things that just have really high SPDF and not much defense that think they can switch into this, and Psyshock just destroys them. Then you've got Shadow Ball to hit Psychics, like Lati and Alakazam, but usually you can just like hit them harder with Psychic, so I've foregone Shadow Ball. Focus Blast is one to hit Heatran, but Heatran actually can be a threat. This is another reason to run Ground over HP Ice, because people run like offensive Heatran with Bloom Doom and HP Electric now, so you're really never safe against a Heatran. But yeah, T-Bolt is really nice for Mantine because it gets in Salazzle's way, so having this be able to a KO Mantine is nice instead of just having two of your biggest threats walled by the same Pokemon. And then at this point I still didn't have my ground immunity, so like if a Lando Ice set up I was in a large amount of trouble, or if they've had a Scarf Keldeo that could be a problem. So I still needed my ground and water switch-ins, and I needed like rocks and an electric immunity and a bunch of stuff, so Lando, always my best friend, came to mind. Gives me something for like Sandrush Excadrill. I was a bit weak to T-Tar, like Banded Edge, it can just come in on this and start Stone Edging everywhere, so this kind of gives me something for that. And then I ended up putting a Rock Resist here anyway, but it's not one that switches into T-Tar, but better than nothing. So yes, we have this set. You can run Stone Edge, I better fix these IVs. You can run Stone Edge, which gives you a better way of dealing with Volcarona, but Mantine is one of the few things that deals with Volcarona, so that's nice. It also deals with Minior better and gives you, like, I guess a better way to deal with Pinsir and Dragonite, but my plan against things like that is to just switch Lando in. Gara is in this boat as well, like Mega Gara. You just switch into Lando, they'll start Dragon Dancing or Swords Dancing or whatever, or they might just attack you, and you just get the slow U-turn into Tapu Lele, and you can revenge kill all of those big threats. HP Ice is there though for Z-move Lando mainly, because people are using this with Supersonic Sky Strike, and that is an enormous threat. If it starts Swords Dancing and your switch-in is this with only Stone Edge to hit it, you're going to be in a bit of trouble. So that's the set I've got, but Edge has its uses as well. Against Minior, I think I'm fine because I switch into this. Intimidate pops their White Herb, so then when they Shell Smash, they will keep that -1 defense. You U-turn into Jirachi, and you don't knock it into the powerful form, it's still in the defensive Minior form, but with -1 defense it dies to Iron Head anyway, and you take the +2 Earthquake. If they Shell Smash again on Lando, they are basically relying on a Stone Edge miss to win. So you can just call your opponent a scumbag in the chat and then click X. Then we got Mantine, my Keldeo / water resist, because this team is very weak to water at the moment. Mantine is just great in this gen. It's a bit bad on this team because it's a momentum sapper, but it's pretty important to cover all the things I'm weak to, like Landorus, Greninja, Zard, bulky Calm Minders like Suicune and Tapu Fini if it doesn't have Taunt, and I guess Slowbro, although I haven't seen a single Slowbro this gen in my whole team except Lando beats it, so that's perhaps not the biggest concern, but Mantine is also pretty crucial for Zygarde, which is another reason to run HP Ice on this. And between HP Ice Lando and Mantine and like Tapu Lele just hitting hard, I think we're okay against Gliscor, although Gliscor is the bane of my existence. But yeah, that's why Mantine is here. It also gives me a much better chance of dealing with rain teams. Like, you can't just go into a generation in which weather is like suddenly good again with this much of a water weakness. I guess it probably helps against sun a lot too. So yeah, Mantine is great. And then we have Rachi in the last spot. This could be a Mega Sizz. I'll give you both versions of the team. One has Mega Sizz and one has this Jirachi, but I've enjoyed using Rachi more because I'm tired of Tapu Lele. It's borderline broken. But Rachi deals with it fine unless it's Spec Shadow Ball, in which case you just click X again. But yeah, this is good for like Taunty, but like between this and Mantine we're fine against Taunty. Wish passing to Lando, and these two are bulky enough to receive some wishes. And of course he can slow U-turn into some things to wish pass to them. The speed is for Tapu Bulu, Adamant Tapu Bulu, it's 249, sorry. And so this lets you come in and take like 5 million from Woodhammer and then Iron Head them. So this is obviously the main reason to run Mega Sizz over Jirachi, so you have a good Bulu switch in. In Sun and Moon I like to have a 4 times grass resist on every team, but this one seems to be better with Rachi. So yeah, decide which you'd prefer. Rachi is better because you get a Tapu Koko switch in, and you deal with like Alakazam and Tapu Lele a lot better. But Sizz gives you a better way to deal with Bulu and Mega Gara, although this team is capable of dealing with Mega Gara if Lando is not required for more things on their team. Also Weavile, if I didn't say that, and Mega Metagross and Kyurem Black are easier with Sizz, and you also get the priority Bullet Punch, which is helpful for Minior and other stuff that sets up. So yeah, that's what I was going for here. We've got things that keep momentum. This saps momentum, sadly, but if you replace it with like a Tapu Fini or something a bit more tanky, as in can dish out some damage instead of being passive like Mantine, you will be weak to, you know, Landorus and Greninja and Zard and all these huge threats, and you might end up getting swept by some, you know, bulky Calm Minders too. So yeah, if you want to change this to like a, I don't know, well, Mandibuzz is even more passive, but the team is very weak to Hooper, so you could like change this to Mandibuzz and see what happens from there. You'd need to put your water resist somewhere else. But yeah, I think that's it. I hope that's like enough information for you guys to use the team as effectively as it can be used. I'm not saying this team is great, but I put quite a bit of time into making this team, so I thought I'd do a team building video because I want to have something different on my channel other than just PS Lives. So yeah, let me know whether you enjoyed this and whether you want to see more. If you have any suggestions to improve the team, I would love to hear them. So leave a comment if you've used the team and found an improvement for it, and we can like try to optimize the team as a family. So yes, that's probably it. Let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know what you think of the team. And you can also watch the live I recorded with this team. That'll just be like the previous video on my channel, but I'll probably link it in the description too. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I will see you next time.